Hi, and welcome to my real estate channel. Today we're going to talk about a subject that nobody really wants to talk about until they're getting ready to buy a house. And then amazingly, when people are getting ready to buy a house, at least in this area, it almost always comes up. And why does it come up? Well, a lot of people are buying homes in the rural areas south of Atlanta where I live. Now I need to say, if you're in a town, it doesn't really come into bearing, but if you're in the country, the thing that comes up is septic tanks. Well, why do septic tanks come up? Well, needless to say, most of these people have electricity that's provided by the county, whatever. They have public water generally. They're not. Most of them are not on wells. However, because they're out in the country, they have to depend on a septic system. Now, I was raised in rural Oklahoma, and I grew up with. There was 5 of us kids. I was on a septic system all of our lives. And from my standpoint, it was never a big issue. However, they are expensive to install. And if you have some problems, it can be an expensive fix. So anytime that I am representing the buyer on one of these deals, I try to ask for certain things, and that's what we're going to talk about today and why it's so important. Stay tuned because every one of these points are important. So, under the special stipulations on a purchase contract, I always ask if the house is on a septic system for a septic letter and the septic system to be pumped. Now, what do we mean by those? Well, I'm not going to get into the big details, but typically a septic service will come in. They will do a visual inspection. They will make sure that all the lines coming into the system are functioning, and that the proper filters and just the lateral lines. I mean, I'm not going to get into all of that, but they just a septic letter does give you some guarantees about the functionality of your septic system. Now, what are we talking about by the pump? Well, you can imagine what we mean by the pump. We're talking about pumping everything out and making sure it's clean. So anyway, that is why I ask for every house that's on a septic system to have a septic letter and the system to be pumped. Now, very closely to that is point number 2. And the point number 2 is, how often should the septic system be pumped? Well, there are different opinions here. Some people go so far as to say, hey, if it's not messing up, don't mess with it. Just let it run. But most people are going to say if it hasn't been pumped in 5 to 10 years, it's probably a good thing to do. And once again, I encourage you to contact the professionals here and get their opinion on it. The third reason that you should look into your particular septic system is there are some very, very advanced systems, at least in this area, on some of these houses. Where I grew up, my goodness, in the olden days, why, there was one tank, and I'll not get into how all that works, but it was a very, very simple system. However, I helped a buyer buy a house here a couple years ago, and there was an alarm system on the septic. I'd never seen anything. Well, I got educated on septic systems. In that case, there's 3 different tanks. They do different things to the sewage. And this is a very, very advanced system on a privately owned home. And so those are the kinds of things that really come into play when you're helping or when you're getting ready to buy a house. And I want my clients to be very up to date on what they're getting into. And so that's the third reason that you should have some kind of septic inspection. Number 4, and this is something that I didn't know until I got well into the real estate industry, that almost in every county, at least in our counties that are close here to South Atlanta, there are records on file in the county concerning the maintenance that's been done to your septic system. For instance, in one situation, we were having some problems, and we were, you can get a diagram where the septic tank is, where the lateral lines are, and it even documents when the last maybe a pump was installed, maybe an alarm system was installed. And so that information is available to you, and it's very vital in keeping your house and everything in order in this particular area. Another thing that comes up, especially here in Georgia, is the size of your septic system. What do you mean by size? I mean, it doesn't one size fit all, and it doesn't. The size of your tank is determined by the number of bedrooms that you have in the house. And so if your house was built as a 3-bedroom house, and somewhere in the history somebody said, oh, it'd be nice to have 2 extra bedrooms built onto this house, and yet the septic system was not updated, well, that can cause you problems. In fact, there are deals that have fallen apart just because of that very thing, because needless to say, you want a septic system designed to take care of the house that you're buying. So once again, these are some simple things that you really need to check out. Be sure you have a septic letter. Make sure if necessary to have it pumped. Make sure that you know something about your system. You'll want to have a diagram. I mean, it's free. They'll print out where the septic tank is and the lateral line, especially if you're getting ready to build a swimming pool in the backyard. And know about your very advanced systems, and make sure that it's designed for the size home that you're getting ready to purchase. Now, once again, as I've shared with every one of these videos, this is not to be construed as legal advice. Needless to say, you need to talk to your real estate agent about it. You need to talk about possibly a real estate attorney. And then in this specific instance, you need to have a septic service give you professional advice and possibly an inspection at that point. And you know the scoop by now. If this particular video has been valuable to you, I encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already. You can hit the notification bell if you like, and then you'll be notified of any updated real estate videos that I have made. And remember also, I am a realtor. I help people buy, sell, invest in residential and commercial real estate. And I refer people all over the United States and sometimes around the world. And until the next video comes out, I bid you adieu and have a great day.